Hi friends, welcome to my first makeup tutorial. Let's get right into it today. So first things first, I am priming the eye. I'm using the Urban Decay Primer Potion in the original formula, and I'm just really smearing that, making sure that the eye is properly primed. And then next I'm going in with a matte gray eyeshadow in the crease, and I'm just using a crease brush for this in a windshield wiper motion just to make sure it's really evenly blended. And then I'm using that same brush and I went in with a little bit of a baby blue eyeshadow on the lid as well as in the crease to kind of give a little bit of a blue undertone. And then I'm going back in with that same gray, and I will list all of the products I used in the description. And I'm putting that back all over my lid. And I'm doing that because, like I said, I kind of want a little bit of a blue undertone. And so now I am using a white pencil to highlight underneath the brow bone. And I really like using a pencil because I really like how it just works and looks underneath like a white powder, for example. I feel like it really brightens it, and I also really feel like it blends beautifully into the powder, especially this formula. This is the Jumbo Eye Pencil by NYX in the shade Milk, which was really popular for a while. And so I just have that in my inner corners as well as my brow bone. And now I'm going in with a white powder also from ColourPop, and I am just putting that wherever I highlighted with the pencil. And now for the eyeliner, you can see that first things first, I am lining the lash line first, and I'm getting as close to as I can with the lash line, and then I'm connecting my wing not to the edge of my eye, but to the edge of the initial line, and then connecting it to create a triangle. But when it reconnects, I drag it out to about the middle of the iris, and then refine from there and fill in. And now I'm actually getting into priming the face. So I don't use an actual primer. I prefer to use the Vanicream moisturizing cream because once it dries down, it does have a little bit of that tacky finish. And I'll demonstrate one day in a video just how tacky it gets. And so here I am just kind of like rubbing it into the skin, making sure it's properly absorbed. And now I'm just going in with a little bit of Aquaphor to make sure my lips aren't dry. And now I'm color correcting. I'm using a pink color corrector from LA Girl, and I'm just doing that under my eyes where I have a little bit of dark circles. And then I'm also going to be doing that just in the parts of the face that I want to brighten, like right around my mouth. And then I'm just going to be blending that out with my finger. And so I'm using my finger because fingers are really awesome blending tools, especially for something like this. It keeps it a little bit more opaque because my fingers aren't like absorbing the product. And so now I'm going in around my mouth and just patting there. And then I skipped where I would put my foundation on the back of my hand, but I'm just using a dense brush to really work that foundation in. I'm wearing the Dior Forever Skin Glow here, and I really love that foundation. I finally just ran out of it. But I'm just using a dense brush to really buff that in there. And you can see that I'm just kind of like going in. I'm not stippling it too much. I'm also I'm trying not to drag it too much either. You don't want to use too much force or else you're just going to start dragging your face and creating lines with the brush, and you really don't want to do that. So I'm just buffing it out essentially. And I'm making sure I get close to my eyebrows as well. Now the next thing I'm going to do is add my concealer. So my concealer is actually flesh toned. I don't have a highlighting concealer. So what I did was I mixed a little bit of white concealer I had from LA Girl and mixed it with my flesh tone concealer, which is the Radiant Shape Tape from Tarte. And I'm just putting that underneath my eyes. in the places where I want to highlight, like around my mouth, on my nose, and on the tip of my nose, and my forehead as well. And then I'm taking a small concealer brush also from Tarte and just stippling that in there to get a really pretty blend. I like stippling concealer because I feel like when you start dragging it, it creates lines, and I feel stippling creates a much nicer base for this formula of concealer. And then next I'm going in with a cool tone liquid contour, and I'm just contouring on my forehead, I'm contouring on my nose, on my cheekbones. And so I find where to do my cheekbones because I find the little hollows on my cheek, and then I kind of move upward from there. And then I'm using that same foundation brush to go ahead and buff in the contour, because I feel like using the same brush brings a really nice blend to everything. Then for my blush, I'm going in with the baby pink liquid blush. This one is from Armani, and I'm just going to be patting that in with my fingers because, again, you know, your fingers really don't absorb that much product. So I'm just patting it here, and I'm focusing on the high points of my cheeks and then also my apples. I feel like my face is a little bit more round, so it looks pretty nice when I do my apples. If I do just the high points, it makes my face look a little bit weird. But now here I am just doing it on the other side, and I missed where I set my under eye with powder, but now I'm setting my whole face with a brightening powder. This one is also from LA Girl, and by brightening powder I mean I'm using a pink powder. And now I'm going on top of my blush with a bright pink powder blush just to give it a little bit more of that oomph. And I'm just focusing again on the high point and on the apple of the cheek. Doing the same thing on the other side. And now under my eye, I'm taking that same gray shade and just putting it across my lower lash line to create a little bit of dimension, create a little bit of shadow there to kind of make the eyes look a little bit bigger. And I'm just using a small, like a really small detail blendy brush for that. And now what I did was I tightlined my lower lash line and my waterline, and I also tightlined my top waterline as well. I left that part out of the video just because, you know, like it can be a little uncomfortable to watch. So, and then I went and I just blended it with another clean brush that I had, and now I'm creating the little inner corner with my liquid liner pen. Now I'm filling in my eyebrows with the NYX Micro Brow Pencil, which I did end up exchanging that for the Benefit Brow Pencil instead, so that's what I'm currently using. And now I'm just spraying with Fix Plus and using a fan that I got from my cousin's Sweet 16 and just drying it out. And now I am using the Tartelette XL mascara to, you know, kind of build up the lashes. And then for my lips, I'm going in with the contour method that I saw from Etienne Ortega. He's a celebrity makeup artist. And I'm just contouring my lips in that way, first with my Cupid's bow and then going down the rest of the top lip. And now I'm going in on the bottom lip as well, just starting in the center and then going to the corners of the mouth. And the shade is Moonwalk from NYX. I think it's a good dupe for Stone by MAC. And now I'm just filling in the corners of my mouth as well. And I'm using a small brush to kind of blend it out and soften the lines. For my gloss, I am using Cosmic Lavender by Buxom. I absolutely love this gloss. It's a bright pink, baby pink gloss. Yeah, it just looks really pretty, especially with this cool tone lip liner. And last but not least, of course, I'm throwing on the eyelashes. And then here is the finished look. It's this really pretty, cool gray, baby pink type look. And I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you again next time.